The purpose of brazing is to bond two or more pieces of metal together. Here I have 3 pieces of RG45. These are mild steel, and they're 1/8 inch in diameter. I'm going to braze these 3 pieces together with a brazing rod and the oxygen acetylene torch. Getting the 3 pieces so that they are red hot. Melting the bronze brazing rod right onto the 3 pieces. And then coming down to this other end and repeating the same thing. Getting the metal so that it is red hot and then melting the bronze brazing rod onto the 1/8 inch mild steel. Once I have these brazed together, I can use the flame of the torch to move the puddle of bronze so that it goes right down in between the 3 rods. In doing so, I'm using very little brazing rod, probably about 1/16 of an inch of brazing rod for each joint. Just moving the puddle so that it lengthens the brazed joint. Now here's a close-up once the piece has been wire brushed, and you can see the brazing. Again, this takes very little of the brazing rod, and it's unlikely that these 3 pieces will ever come apart. Now, for my purpose in doing metal sculpture, I have a different way of using the brazing process. To be sure, I want the pieces to be brazed together, but I want to use the brazing rod as an effect. Repeating this same process, getting the 3 rods so that they are red hot, and melting the bronze rod onto the 1/8 inch rods. Now going to the top and doing the same thing. But if you'll notice, I am using more brazing rod here. You can see that it's humped up. What I'm doing is using the brazing as an effect. Essentially, using it as a different material. I'm brazing the pieces together, but as you'll see in a moment, how this adds to the finished sculpture. Using the tree trunk that I just brazed, I went ahead and finished this tree, or at least brazed it all together. As you can see, this tree is flat. It has no dimension, no depth. What I want to do next is to add some dimension to the tree. I can add depth by pulling some of the rods out. So instead of looking at just a flat tree, there is dimension. Down here at the bottom, I used the torch and heated these end pieces up and curled them with a pair of needle nose pliers so that they resemble tree roots. Once the piece is completed, you can see all the brazed joints. Now I used much more brazing rod than will be necessary just to bond the pieces together. But for this piece, if a person is looking at the sculpture on the wall, whether they are standing to the right of it, the left of it, or straight ahead, they are going to get a slightly different reflection, a light reflection from all those bronzed joints. The whole point is to make the sculpture as interesting as possible. Using brazing, as shown here, This is just another way to make the sculpture more engaging. Here are a few more examples. How I've used brazing to enhance the sculpture, using brazing as an effect.